Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new League Racing video. Today is WOR round number 4, I think so. Not sure if it's round number 4, but we're racing around Melbourne and we're heading out for our first Q1 run of today. We've actually done a lap on the intermediates like usual already, but yeah, just our first official run on the softs. And championship wise, I don't even want to think about it at the moment. We got I think 17 points. Of course, we got that desync incident with Bari in Austria in round 1. Then there was a race we didn't participate in. And then round 3 was Miami, where we finished P3 and got 15 points, if I remember correctly. So that's why we got 17 points at the moment. And championship wise, it's not looking good. Of course, it's a long season. I think it's 20 races more or less. So in that regard, we've got a lot of time to catch up, but as you guys might know from PSGL, the past videos in general, we're struggling a little bit. The reason for that is we didn't practice a lot until the week of this race, basically. So we're getting there, and this race should already be a lot better, but Melbourne is most likely not going to be in the F1 Esports calendar, so we are not really practicing it a lot. And basically we're focusing on the tracks that will be more likely to get into F1 Esports. So setup wise, it's not looking very good, but at the same time, you know, having to drive in a race with a non-ideal setup can be pretty learned for as well, of course. As you guys might know from PSGL, we struggled a lot there, and especially the last one in Spa, we were absolutely terrible, which was basically all setup related. And because of that struggle, we basically found some new things and learned a lot from it. So even though League Racing is not looking good at the moment, we are learning a lot, which is important as well. Mainly for F1 Esports, we need to be ready when F1 Esports starts, of course, as that's the main task of the year. So far in this Q1 run, you can see cars not very balanced. It's either understeering on entry and mid corner, and sometimes it very aggressively snaps to oversteer on the exit. And that's, I think, also how the game a little bit is this year. So of course the aim is to try and fix that setup wise, but you also just have to drive around it a little bit, because I think that's the characteristic of the game a little bit. So into this last sector now, very fast chicane. As we open the DRS, Simon Prickney P1 with a 17.3. And we need to try and beat that. Last sector now is where the time is gained, and Lucas Blakely goes 3 times faster than that. Meant to beat at the moment, Lucas Blakely, quite obviously, as you guys have seen from the last few videos. He's constantly up there together with his teammate Barry Boromant, so they've got their stuff sorted quite clearly, and we don't, as we only set a 17.3, so most likely we have to go again. Which we did. Another new set of softs go on, and you can see that last corner was terrible. Got a lot of understeer on the entry, and we're only going to improve 1/10, but that will see us through into Q2. As you can see right here, our teammate Danny Moreno did do very well. Also went out the second time, so also had to use 2 sets of tires, but luckily for us, P9, and pace doesn't look too great, but also not terrible compared to the rest. If you don't look at Danny and Lucas, we're looking pretty good, as we're going for our first new set of tires in Q2 here. As you can see, 6/10 up on the Delta, which was a used tire run, so that's not very representative, especially considering I run Melbourne and use the softest compound possible, the C5. So the tire wear is very high, so if you go out for a second run, you're going to be a lot slower. As you can see now in Q2, currently P7 after our first new tire run, so we had to go again, and that makes Q3 a lot more difficult, but we have to go out, otherwise we're going to be out in Q2. So top 10 goes through into Q3, and turn 1 was not great, bit of a wiggle on that exit, and now into the next right-hander, down to 4th gear, carrying that speed in, and you can still see on the Delta we're equal, we're not really gaining anything, so it's not a good lap so far, because the track evolution should gain you more time, of course. the track rubbers in and gets faster over time. And we're not getting faster, so it's not been a good first sector so far. And if we want to get into Q3, we definitely have to improve. So into the next fast left-right hander. Usually a lot of time to gain there, but it's also very easy to make a mistake, especially on this year's game where you easily bottom out over those curbs. We get it right luckily, and we gain 1/10. As I said, a lot of time there, and now into the final sector, 4th gear through this right-hander. And looks like we've gained a little bit more time now through the final section. And once again, we're just gaining time all the way through into the final corner. Another 10th gain in the left-hander. But I had a little bit of a moment on that exit, and that cost me some time. But other than that, it's going to be Q3 for us, right behind our teammate Danny Moreno. I think he didn't have to go out for a second run. So Danny has 2 new sets as well. Lucas as well, because they are so much faster. Tom Manley doing very well in P2 there. I think he also has 2 new sets of tires. So Q3 is not going to be easy with that many people having new sets of tires. But we just have to get on with it and try to put it in the top 5. I think that's a good aim here. You can see we're out on track. First run in Q3. It's only 17.5. But new set of tires, of course. Whereas someone like Lucas had a new set of tires. But now, this is the run where it counts. We're currently P6. As I think everyone else had invalidated their run. Including our teammate, Danny Moreno. I'm not sure actually. But we have to improve here. Otherwise, we're most likely only going to be P10. So this is the run where it counts. And this is the run where pole will get decided. Into turn 1. Not easy to see your breaking point because of all the shadows. But we get it right. And we are 110 up. Going into turn 3. Breaking point at 100 meters. A little bit afterwards. 4th gear. Carry the minimum speed. And then this just has to be so smooth. Be careful of that exit curb. Do not bottom out. Easy flat through this right-hander. And then into the next fast right-hander. You can see we're 700s up on Ruben Pedreno. And 310s up on our previous lap. Now, if we want to fight for that top 3, we still have to improve a lot in that last sector. Tom Manley goes provisional pole with a 1:16.559, which means we would have to go 1 second faster than our delta. And you can see that chicane was not great, and we're only 3.4 up. Now the last sector is very mechanical, so we might find a lot more time there. That right-hander again was not great. Bit of hesitation on throttle. And into the final left-hander. Gaining quite a bit of time to our delta. You can see we're gonna go 6/10 up on the exit, but the rear end is just not stable on the exit, and it's only gonna be 1:16.8. And currently P6 with still quite a few people crossing the line. Lucas Blakely goes pole with a 1:16.4, so we're 4/10 off compared to the rest, and we're gonna be starting P7 behind our teammate Danny Moreno in P6. Not a great quali for us in P7, but at least I reckon from P7 we can fight for podium, if not the win. Usually, if we would have good pace, but looking at qualifying, we don't have the greatest pace, so it's not going to be easy fighting to the front. Now, onto the race then, starting on the hards. There's no formation lap because of the tire temperature bug, so we're straight heading into it. 70-degree tires, there's going to be absolutely no grip for absolutely anyone at the start. Shut up, please. I tried a bit of a different technique, having very low revs, but I just didn't get off the line, so that didn't work. Into turn 1 around the outside of 2 cars, and back up to P7 we go. Behind our teammate Danny Moreno, overtaking Ruben Pedreno on the left. And now into turn 3, Ruben hits the wall a little bit, so that gives us the opportunity to sneak down the inside. Everyone struggling for grip on those cold tires, as you can see. Ilker Baena having a little bit of a moment through that corner. And now we're a little bit stuck behind Ruben Pedreno, who seems to struggle a little bit more on cold tires than us. So we have to watch out we don't run into the back of him, of course. We've got quite a bit of a gap to Luke Smith behind, as Ruben is trying to heat his tires. You can see I'm trying to do the same. as we go into this fast left-right. You can see Ruben has run wide again, and that gives us the opportunity into the braking zone. Because I'm trying to find a way through, but there's just not really any way. There's a big bump there on the inside. You can see my car made quite a bit of a jump. Yellow flag in that last corner. I've got no idea what corner number that is, but yellow flag for someone, I think, spinning off, but continuing pretty soon afterwards. So after the opening lap, no positions gained or lost, and it's P7 currently, with Tino and Karim leading on the mediums. Now on to lap 3, Tino stretching the gap in front, and the pace of this whole group is pretty high as Ilkar Baena goes off in turn 1.
The DRS train is broken.
And as you can hear me say there, the DRS train is broken now because Ilkar went off.
Danny can get the deck, but
that creates a massive gap, and because the pace is so high,
I doubt it with this potato setup.
As
1.2 off.
Tino is on the mediums, he's carrying that whole train of cars along in the DRS, and that way the pace is just so high, because obviously the mediums are much faster in the beginning than the hards. That means that it's not going to be easy to get back in the DRS train, as Danny lets Ilkar through. I didn't really understand why, as that's costing more time, and yeah, I got no clue. Anyway, maybe it was ERS related, I'm not sure, but we continue, and now we're basically out of reach from Tom Manley and Lucas Blakely in the McLaren and the Red Bull. Tino is on the medium, so he will have to go to the hards eventually, and he will lose time to us when we go to the mediums. But however, Lucas and Tom are still getting carried along by Tino on the medium, so not ideal, obviously, but it is what it is. We just have to get on with it and keep pushing. Now, you can see we're getting DRS. I'm on 100% ERS, but there's nothing really I can do other than stay behind, because if I attack, I use a lot of ERS, and I most likely won't get past anyway. That's the issue you face in the DRS train. You just have to be patient and attack at the right moment. On to lap 11 now. Tino boxes for a new set of hards at the end of lap 11. And you can see there, Joseph Loke. I'm not sure if I spelled or pronounced his last name right, but he's on the mediums as well, up to P7. He does have a 3-second penalty, but knowing Melbourne from my team and co-op, it tends to give you penalties instantly without giving you a warning, so that might get removed. Lap 13, safety car deployed for Primoz Maklevic, who crashed at the end of sector 1. So safety car, and this is not ideal. We have to box now, because otherwise we will be a pit stop behind. And we've got Danny, our teammate, ahead of us, so we are gonna slow down a little bit, not too crazy, because that will be illegal. But we're not gonna be pushing maximum attack on the delta. We're just gonna sit back around 3 seconds to the delta, and that way we won't get held as bad in the pits. At least we shouldn't. How? How can they develop something like this bad? They're such a joke, man. How does a car just completely fucking stop in the pit lane? Swear they're not serious. So that cost us a little bit of time and positions. Time-wise, not of course, but positions-wise, yes. We've lost the position to I think Luke Smith and Simon Prickney. I think Ruben ahead of us had the exact same issue as us and lost positions because of it. So now we are in P10 instead of P7. Joseph might have undercut this anyway, so maybe it would have been P8. But anyway, we have to get on with it. Luke Smith was behind us, is now in P6. So safety car restart now. We are on the mediums, and it's going to be quite a bit of a stretch to get them to the end. I mean, So we have to attack now, get track position, and then save tires afterwards if we can. But now we're going on the attack into turn 3. Ruben Pedreno trying to defend. We're gonna break deep around the outside. Joseph Loke on the hards, and we just have so much more grip on these cold tires. Of course, safety car restart. It is tricky to get your tires up to temperature as we get tapped from the rear, but we make it into P8. Double overtake in turn 3, and now we have to try and get to the back of Luke Smith. 2 positions gained on the safety car restart, so a very successful safety car restart. Tino ahead on the hards, struggling as well, as you can see, dropping positions, and that's the risk of boxing early. You're gonna lose out the undercut if a safety car comes out and not get the advantage from boxing under the safety car. Now, Luke Smith going for a move on Tino, and you can see Tino just has absolutely zero grip on those hards, and into the neck left, and again he's gone wide, locked up, and now we're gonna try and go around the outside in the last corner, and that's another position gained, at least for now, as Tino is gonna come back into turn 1. You can see we're using a lot of our battery to try and get ahead, and we just give him enough space on the inside, and that is P7. 3 positions gained on the safety car restart, but we have lost a bit of time to Luke Smith, and DRS will be enabled in 2 laps time, of course, so we need to get back in that 1 second window ASAP. But you can see Simon is pretty far behind that group of cars as well, and it means he's going to be pushing as well to try and close that gap and get within that DRS window. So with that much ERS used, it's not going to be easy to get back in the second. You can see we're using a lot of ERS on this straight, but so is Luke and so is Simon, as they're both pushing as well to try and get it into the DRS, of that group of cars ahead. So Joseph in P8 now, Tino in P9, both struggling a little bit on those hards, as Joseph did get past Tino. I think me and Tino had a slight tap in turn 1, but that made him lose another position, so we are not going to be under investigation for that, as of course we left him a lot of space on the exit. It was just a very small tap, so we will be fine on that. Now into lap 18, DRS enabled, as you can see, as it's actually after 2 laps already, or did I miss a lap? I'm not sure. Anyway, we keep focusing on the race, trying to get into that 1 second window, but you can see we've got no ERS left, and Simon is still going to be pushing as well to try and achieve the same we are, trying to get DRS, as DRS is pretty huge around here. You've got 3 DRS zones, so that's probably around half a second per lap you gain just from DRS, and you can see we are losing ground, and the gap has increased to 1.2 seconds. All that fighting in the beginning has just made us lose so much time and cost us so much ERS that we can't get back at the moment, even though I'm gonna keep fighting as hard as I can, keep pushing as hard as I can to try and get back at some point. At the moment it's not looking very good and not looking very likely we're gonna get into that 1 second window for the next few laps at least. You can see I'm pushing as hard as I can, but yeah, and this is not really helping us as well. I kept pushing. You can see lap 21, the gap is now 1.5 seconds. I kept pushing flat out 100%, and that's not ideal for our tires, of course, and it is going to be tricky towards the end of the race to make it on the set of mediums. You can see 1.6 seconds the gap now. It's going to be very close for us towards the end of the race, because we will be in puncture territory. You can see in lap 24 our tires are not looking great. Tire wear is a lot higher on these mediums, and we're going to be under threat definitely from Joseph on those hards, because he will of course have much less tire wear. But now, lap 24, we finally get DRS again. After so many laps, Simon did lose DRS to that group of cars ahead as well. Our teammate Danny Moreno is in the fight for the win, because he's in P3, so he's doing well. But yeah, We just have to keep pushing. I'm gonna try and recharge our battery a little bit, which was not easy, of course, because the guys had, I think, a little bit more ERS, and yeah, we just had to 100% make sure to stay in the DRS, so I had to use a little bit here and there to make sure I was gonna stay in that DRS 1 second window. Now, 2 laps to go. You can see on the front left and the front right that line is starting to form. That means you've got a lot of tire wear. We've got that at the moment, and the rears are even worse, as the rear tire is high. And you can see Josef senses the opportunity, and we need to defend into the fast chicane, that's for sure. As he, I think, has a little bit more ERS as well, so we have to play it smart here. He's got better tires and more ERS left, so we need to play it smart in the last 1.5 lap. You can see, again, I have to use, and I keep looking back to see if he is using ERS. Now Luke goes for the move on Simon. Simon has a 6-second penalty, so even if we don't overtake him, we are going to get that position. All we have to do is stay within that 6 seconds. And in case he does get 3 seconds removed, I just need to make sure I stay within 3 seconds, basically.
Joseph, 20.
Ah, okay, yeah.
As you can hear Ben say, Josef on 20% ERS. You can see Simon has a little bit more, so it looks like we're not going to get him. But as I said, we just need to make sure we stay in a 3-second window. As I reckon you tend to get 3-second penalty instantly. However, 6 seconds I think is a little bit less likely. So we're just going to focus on Josef for now. We're not going to get Luke, because I think it's quite obvious that he's too far away to attack. And if we want to get him, we still need to overtake Simon as well. But now, the real threat is going to be on these next few straights. Josef behind us. You can see I used a little bit of my ERS, and Josef is doing the same now. So, while looking back, I activated the overtake button again to protect myself into the next left and right hander. Now, Josef taking a lot of risk with that right hand curb, and we used the last bit of battery we have into the next right hander. Josef is too far back to send it. Otherwise he would cause a collision. So you can see he's so close. He's basically in our gearbox, and into the next left-hander. We've got a big enough of a gap to defend, so all we need to do is keep it on track, and we will get P5 here. Lucas wins and extends the championship lead once again, very painfully. We get 10 points on the board, so not ideal. We did gain not a lot of positions. We gained 2 positions from the start. But of course that pit stop, I think, put us a little bit out of contention for the win. But yeah, it is what it is. As I said, we are focusing more on F1 esports tracks rather than WOR. So I don't think this was a realistic test. I think the next real test will come for PSGL Mexico, which I will be prepping pretty good for. So make sure to like and subscribe for more F1 22 League Racing content, and see you guys next time. Ciao.